I've had the opportunity to see the mechanics of these programs and witness firsthand how far in opposition to well-established research and system of care principles that these programs operate. I had been working with a youth as a care coordinator whose mother was struggling to find appropriate treatment for her daughter. Even before her first hospitalization, her psychiatrist was recommending that she consult with an educational consultant for a therapeutic boarding school. The consultant recommended New Leaf Academy in North Carolina. Again, a little bit about New Leaf Academy from the company's website. At the time of admission, our students are between 10 and 14 years of age. As peer pressure, family relationships, hormonal and physical development, and academic pressure begin to collide, they can create the perfect storm in a young girl's life. The result can be anger, frustration, and doubt. Our 18 to 24-month program teaches positive self-expression, responsibility, and helps troubled young girls and their families transition to a better place. Just let that soak in for a little bit. The answer to teenage angst is, you guessed it, another program. Not family therapy, not a mentor, not some kind of in-home behavioral therapy which we know works. Aspen once again has the solution to your family's problem. Send your kid to them and take the next couple of years of parenting off. All it'll cost you is about $120,000. This was a child that barely qualified for our wraparound services and would have never qualified for our long-term residential treatment facility level of care in New York State. And I told the mom as such, I'm like, there's no way in hell you're going to be able to get your child into a residential treatment facility through the state system. Yet at the same time, New Leaf was ready to accept her with open arms, and her psychiatrist, who should have known better, was ready to send her irrevocably separating parent from child at a critical stage of adolescent development. My other anecdote comes from a program that is about to be the subject of a Supreme Court case. A case that I'm sure many of you will be writing or participating in an amicus brief where you'll be supporting the parents' right to receive a free and appropriate public education from their school district, even if they never received special education services from that school district before. The program that the parents bypassed their local school district special education services for is Mount Bachelor Academy, another Aspen program. In preparation for our own amicus brief at CAFETY, we spoke to some students who attended the program. Here are some of the things they told us about Mount Bachelor Academy. Number one, the only communications that students are allowed to make to the outside world are 10-minute phone calls to parents once a week that are strictly monitored, and all letters are centered coming in and out. Number two, most of the traditional treatment is done via a 5-hour-long group therapy session where students are required to reveal their innermost secrets and deal with them in front of an entire group. Individual therapy is not offered, and no drug use, abuse, or addiction-specific treatment is given at any time during the course of the program. Number three, the climax of the treatment offered by MBA is the life step, known as promises. One youth reported being woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning and driven to Portland, Oregon in a van where she was dropped off in the city's sex district for 4 hours to fend for herself because one of the issues the program said she needed to deal with was her promiscuity. They've told her that unless she decided to work the program, that the street corner they dropped her off on is what she could be looking forward to in the future. For the young people who use drugs before coming to the program, a common drop-off point was under a bridge in Portland where it was common for the homeless to congregate. I chose to share this information about Mount Bachelor Academy and New Leaf Academy specifically for the reason that they are not considered among the worst programs. Mount Bachelor Academy is even regulated and accredited by the appropriate agencies in the state of Oregon, while H.R. 911 is currently written would at least lift the communication that Mount Bachelor Academy uses, the 10 minutes once a week, censored, monitored. It would not require it to change much of their program practices. The takeaway I would like to leave you with today is again something taken from the mouths of CRC themselves in their annual report. We face significant competition from established treatment providers as well as new entrants. we compete directly with a wide variety of nonprofit, governmental, and for-profit treatment providers, and this competition may intensify in the future. Nonprofit and government providers may be able to offer competitive services at lower prices, which may adversely affect our revenue in regional markets and service categories in which we compete with nonprofit and government providers. Even after we ensure the physical safety of youth that go to these programs, what we are still left with are money-making enterprises that develop relationships with key entry points into residential care, use slick advertising to create an artificial demand for their services, enroll youth who in our public system would never see the door of a long-term residential program, and then use social isolation, sleep deprivation, and community pressure to conform as their primary tool for treating young people and creating their next generation of social marketers. This is not therapy, this is thought reform. It will take the entire advocacy community that knows and understands this key distinction between therapy and thought reform to starve this beast by reducing the demand for these programs through the education of parents, the education of schools, and the education of providers, both public and private. CAFETY has started this process by conducting workshops at a series of national conferences, by identifying young people who have attended programs to provide testimony at legislative hearings, and by organizing letter-writing campaigns to Congress. If you have any additional questions about the Supreme Court case or about how you can get involved in some of the grassroots efforts that are already underway, I would be happy to speak to you once this presentation is over, and thank you.